Have you ever looked at a photo of yourself and felt a strange sensation that something was off? Not just the pose or the angle, but the image itself, as if the reflection wasn't complete, as if your soul didn't show up along with your body. If this has ever happened to you, stop now and pay attention, because that feeling isn't vanity or insecurity, it's spiritual. Many are awakening to a truth the world has tried to hide for centuries. The real spiritual chosen ones, those marked with the letter M and the crescent moon in their hands, were not made to fit into ordinary images. And it's not because they lack beauty, it's because they carry a light that no human lens can capture. In this video, you're going to understand why your presence makes others uncomfortable, why your image seems distorted, why your energy never fits into standard frames. We're going to reveal the spiritual reasons behind the discomfort you feel when you look at yourself in photos. And more than that, you're going to discover what heaven is trying to show you through those images. But first, if this message already resonates with you, comment the number 1111 below. This number is a spiritual code of awakening. It represents portals opening and divine confirmations arriving. Subscribe to this channel right now so that this message can continue reaching those who are also ready to remember who they really are. Now, take a deep breath and get ready, because what you're about to hear will bring answers your soul has been waiting for a very long time. Have you ever stopped to think why some of your photos seem strange, empty, disconnected? It's not just about the angle, lighting, or expression. It's something deeper. It's as if the image doesn't reflect the totality of your being. And do you know why? Because physical photography will never be able to capture what is purely spiritual. The chosen ones with the letter M and the crescent moon carry such a high frequency that their physical bodies are no longer enough to express what they are becoming. The camera records what's on the surface. But you are no longer on the surface. Your essence vibrates in another dimension, a dimension that the material world doesn't understand and can't translate. The image fails because you don't fit into it. That's why you feel strange when you see yourself in photos. That's why, even when surrounded by compliments, something inside you says, "This image is not me." And that feeling is not madness. It's revelation. You are going through a process called energetic disidentification. Your spirit is leaving behind the limited version of itself, the one that tried to please, hide the pain, wear masks. And when that happens, what appears in the photo is the gap, the space between who you were and who you are becoming. And it's in that space that God is molding you. Most people believe that a camera only captures appearance, but when it comes to a chosen one, especially those marked with the letter M and the crescent moon, what is captured goes beyond the physical. The camera reveals the invisible. It exposes internal ruptures, unresolved conflicts, the presence of spiritual weight that has yet to be released. And that's why the image sometimes feels unsettling. You look at that photo and feel something strange. It's not the pose, it's not the filter, it's the energy. Somehow, the image captured what you tried to hide from yourself, the old wounds, the unhealed memories, the emotional overload you carry from being strong for too long. And do you know what's even deeper? The image reflects the truth. You are spiritually tired. But not just any kind of tiredness, it's the exhaustion of a soul that has been carrying burdens for years that were never theirs. That smiles to keep the peace, that stays silent to avoid conflict, that shines so others don't feel overshadowed, and all of that leaves marks. Photography doesn't lie. It shows the reflection of a light that is struggling to shine in its fullness again. And that's why you need to look at yourself with compassion, not with criticism. What you see is a tired warrior, but still standing. You are about to reignite a light that no lens will ever be able to dim. Many chosen ones with the mark of the letter M and the crescent moon don't understand why they feel strange in front of their own image. But the reason is spiritual. There is an invisible war being waged to distort your identity. And where does that begin? Exactly in what the world uses to define worth appearance. The enemy knows that if he can make you doubt your beauty, your presence, your identity, he won't need to attack you directly, because you will begin to hide yourself. Rejection of your own image is one of the most subtle forms of self-cancellation. And that begins when you look at a photo and don't recognize who is there. But understand this, it's not your image that is wrong. It's the mirror of the world that is distorted. Your spirit doesn't fit the standards of this world because it was created to challenge the system. The chosen one was designed to shine in darkness, to manifest light where there is only confusion. And that's why their image unsettles. Not them, but those who watch them. The structures that try to control them. The spirits that want to silence them. That's why photos don't always capture your light, because your light wasn't made to be seen, it was made to be felt. And that is what the world fears most, the impact of someone who doesn't need to be seen to transform everything around them. Why do photos seem wrong exactly in the moments when you were just starting to feel good about yourself? Why did you feel confident, but then, upon seeing the image, felt an unexplainable discomfort? That is no coincidence. It's spiritual. The visible world is only a reflection of the invisible one, and the camera, no matter how harmless it may seem, becomes a silent witness to a battle many don't even realize they're living. The chosen ones marked with the letter M and the crescent moon carry a light that disturbs. And that light is not just beautiful. It's dangerous to everything that thrives in darkness. It exposes, it reveals, it awakens. And that is why there are forces that try to distort your image not for the world, but for yourself. If they can convince you that you are not special, not beautiful, not worthy, then they no longer need to attack you from the outside, because doubt has already been planted within. That's why photos, reflections, mirrors sometimes carry strange energy, because you are being watched, because what you carry draws attention in the spiritual realm. And there are unseen eyes trying to sabotage what you haven't even realized is already being activated. But understand this, none of this is a reason to fear. On the contrary, it's a sign that your presence is already breaking through layers that were never touched before. You're not wrong in the image. It's the image that can no longer contain who you have become. Maybe the reason why you've never felt right in photos is because you haven't been fully revealed yet, and that, far from being a flaw, is a divine act of protection. The chosen one marked with the letter M and the crescent moon was never meant to be thrown into the world carelessly. They must first be forged in the invisible. There are moments when God chooses to hide, to cover, to quiet, because what's being formed is too sacred to be exposed prematurely. And when we speak of image, presence, visibility, we are also speaking of spiritual exposure. So, when you look at a photo and don't recognize yourself, maybe the problem isn't self-esteem, but spiritual timing. You're not invisible. You're being preserved. Because when God releases a chosen one, it is for something great, undeniable, and unstoppable. The seed must first grow roots. The eagle, before flying, must be trained in the hidden place, and the chosen one, before being seen, must be structured. That's why the image doesn't represent you yet, because it hasn't captured who you are becoming, but the time of revelation is near. And when it comes, no lens, angle, or filter will be able to contain your real light. Have you ever stopped to think why the photos that bother you the most are exactly the ones taken when you were beginning to feel good about yourself? When your spirit was finally starting to breathe relief, freedom, and confidence? That is not coincidence. That is spiritual resistance. The chosen ones marked with the letter M and the crescent moon are not seen only with human eyes, they are recognized in the spiritual realm, and that recognition stirs reactions. Darkness doesn't attack what is ordinary. It chases after those who carry light. It tries to dim, distort, scramble the image of those whose mission disrupts the invisible systems of deception. The feeling that something is wrong with your image doesn't come from the mirror, nor from the camera. It comes from the constant attempt of the enemy to make you doubt yourself. Because if he can shake your confidence, your light will be dimmed. And if your light is dimmed, your mission loses power. But now you know. Now you see. You weren't sabotaging yourself, you were being sabotaged. And from this awareness, everything shifts. You stop being a victim of discomfort and become a warrior of truth. And discomfort becomes a sign, a warning, a proof that yes, you are a living channel of light, a portal of revelation, and that's why you've been targeted. Have you ever wondered if the problem isn't the photo, but the way you've been seeing yourself? What if, instead of the camera lying, it's your perception of yourself that's distorted? Not by choice, but because of everything that's been planted in your mind over the years. Criticism, comparisons, comments that shattered your self-esteem when you were still a child, silences that bred insecurity, words left unsaid that became deeply rooted beliefs. All of this shaped a version of you that isn't true, but that became your reference. And so, when you look at an image of yourself, you don't see your light, you see your wounds. You see what they said about you, not what God sees when he looks at you. The reflection in the image became a reflection of pain, not of essence. That's why so many chosen ones with the spiritual mark feel disconnected from their own image. Because the mirror was contaminated by lies and memories that don't represent your divine identity. But there is a calling here, an awakening. It's time to see yourself as heaven sees you, because when that happens, it's not just your perception that changes, your energy changes, your posture changes, your presence changes. And surprisingly, even the photos begin to change, because now the light that has always existed begins to shine without blockages. And it doesn't need a camera, it transforms any environment. Maybe the question that echoes most inside you is, why can't I shine the way I feel I should? You look around and see others being seen, recognized, admired, while you, even carrying an intense light and an awakened soul, still seem invisible to the world's eyes. But heaven is never in a hurry. God does not reveal a jewel before fully refining it. Your glow is so strong, so powerful, that it needs a solid spiritual foundation to sustain it. Otherwise, the world would crush it. That's why the Father hides his chosen ones for a time of rooting, of silence, of preparation. It's not rejection, it's protection. It's not delay, it's divine strategy. You were not forgotten, you were preserved. Because when God decides to reveal someone, there's no filter, criticism, or environment that can erase it. The brightness is so intense it no longer fits in shadows. And if, until today, you haven't seen yourself shine in images on social media or in life, it's because heaven is saving the best for a prophetic moment. Your time is not delayed, it is being aligned with the perfect will of God. And when that time comes, even the cameras will bow to the light you carry. There is a spiritual truth that few understand. The chosen ones marked with the M and the crescent moon were not made to fit inside frames. They were not made to be defined by angles, by poses, by pixels. Your presence carries something that cannot be contained. It's a living energy, in constant movement, that breaks through any visual limitation. You weren't created to fit inside an image. You were created to overflow light, to disturb darkness, to shift the air with your presence. That's why, when they try to capture your image, something seems missing. It's not beauty, It's not expression. It's that your soul simply doesn't fit there. Cameras were made to capture forms, but your mission is not form, it's essence. And that essence cannot be photographed. It is felt. It is recognized spiritually. That's why those who are truly awakened, when they look at you, don't just see a face, they see a flame. And it is that flame that, one day, when God says, "Now," will be seen by all, without frame, without filter, without the need for approval. Because whoever carries glory no longer needs to hide behind angles. He simply is, and the whole world will know. Chosen one. What is about to happen in your life is not exposure, it's revelation. There is a deep difference between being seen by the world and being revealed by heaven. Being seen depends on popularity. Being revealed depends on purpose. And you are being prepared for the most impactful revelation of your existence. For a long time, you were hidden, misunderstood, invisible, even to those who claim to love you. But it was God who kept you away from the spotlight. It was heaven saying, "Not yet," because there is something sacred in silence. There is something divine in preparation. And now that time is coming to an end. What the photos couldn't show, what the mirrors couldn't translate, will be laid bare by the glory of God upon your life. Those who diminished you will see you rise with a light that cannot be ignored. It won't be your beauty that draws attention. It will be your spiritual authority. The time of hiding is over. The time of not being seen, of not being understood, of being misinterpreted. All of that is about to become testimony. You will be the living reflection of what it means to carry the light in a world that tries to extinguish the sacred. And when human eyes finally see, it will be impossible to unsee. There is something almost no one understands about the real chosen ones. Something that isn't written in books, taught from pulpits, or grasped by those trapped in appearances. The chosen ones marked with the letter M and the crescent moon are not just different. They are hidden by God until they are ready. And often, the way heaven conceals their light is precisely through their appearance, or the way the world sees them in images. Have you ever stopped to think that maybe it's not the mirror that's wrong, nor the poorly taken photo, but rather heaven that hasn't yet authorized your exposure? Yes. There is a time for everything under heaven, and there is a set time for the revelation of a chosen one. Since the womb, these beings carry a spiritual calling that defies logic. They are ancient souls who came with a mission to break earthly patterns and recover forgotten codes of light for humanity. And as contradictory as it may seem, many of these chosen ones have spent their entire lives feeling invisible. Some were ignored in groups. Others, even in the spotlight, felt like shadows of themselves. And then there are those who, when seeing their own photos, don't recognize themselves, as if the image were disconnected from their true essence. But why does this happen? Because the physical world still lacks the visual tools to translate the magnitude of a chosen one's light. A camera may capture the outline of your face, but it can't decode the frequency of your soul. A mirror can reflect your form, but it will never reveal the invisible force that pulses in your spirit. Human eyes see only what's on the surface, but heaven sees what is being formed in secret. That's why, while the chosen one is still undergoing spiritual refinement, God conceals their true beauty and allows many to underestimate them. This concealment is not a punishment, it is protection. Heaven knows that premature exposure can destroy what is still in formation. How many talents have been crushed because they bloomed too early? How many were seen by crowds but were not prepared to bear the weight of visibility? In His wisdom, God covers those who still need to be strengthened on the inside with the mantle of anonymity. And this applies even to the way you appear in a simple photograph. While you are still under construction, your light will be veiled, and that will confuse many, including yourself. But that's about to change. There comes a point on the spiritual journey when preparation ends and heaven then decides to reveal the chosen one. It is in that moment that the photos begin to change. Without explanation, you start to see yourself differently. Your image begins to carry an unexplainable light. Your gaze radiates serene authority. Your posture shifts. Your presence impacts. And the most impressive thing, you didn't do anything aesthetic. It's not the haircut. It's not the makeup. It's the spirit within you manifesting in fullness. This is the moment of activation. When God releases a chosen one's image to the world, He's not just saying, "Look how beautiful they are." He's proclaiming, "Look what I formed in secret." That's why, all of a sudden, people begin to notice something about you, and they can't explain it, but they feel you differently. It's as if your soul starts to emit a frequency that was once silenced. You walk into a room, and conversations shift. Eyes turn toward you. It's not vanity, it's authority. It's your spiritual seal beginning to radiate. But be warned, this moment requires maturity. Many chosen ones, upon realizing they're finally being seen, run the risk of getting lost in vanity. They confuse spiritual recognition with human approval, and that's dangerous. Because the same God who reveals can also hide again. Your glow isn't in aesthetics, it's in the truth you carry. And if that truth becomes corrupted by pride, the light dims. That's why, even when the photos begin to favor you, remember where your beauty comes from. It's not in the features of your face, but in the fire of your spirit. You were hidden out of love, and you will be revealed with purpose. While you saw yourself as invisible, God saw you as untouchable. While you thought you looked ugly in photos, heaven was molding you in glory. While the world ignored you, the entire universe was silently conspiring to prepare you. Now, the time is drawing near. The dawn of your revelation approaches. And it won't come just with likes or compliments. It will come with mission, with spiritual weight, with responsibility. Because your image, the one God is about to release, will be used to heal, to teach, to inspire. Yes, you will be seen, but for a greater reason. Chosen one, if you've made it this far, allow yourself to take a deep breath and feel. Because maybe, more than just content, what you received today was a reminder, a soft whisper from your own soul saying, you are on the right path. You weren't born to fit inside frames. You weren't born to be defined by pixels, angles, or filters. You carry too much light to be compressed into an image. Your real reflection is not in photographs, it's in the fruits you produce, in the environments you transform, in the souls that awaken simply by being near you. Those who carry the spiritual marks of the letter M and the crescent moon were sealed for an invisible mission, long before being seen by the world. They were hidden not out of weakness, but for protection. And now, if you're hearing this, it's because the time has come to understand. Your light was never meant to be contained. It was made to set the world on fire with truth, justice, and restoration. The photos that don't flatter you, they're only shadows of a past where you were still being shaped. But now the revelation has begun. And it has nothing to do with appearance. It has everything to do with spiritual authority. The world may try to frame you, but heaven has already declared, you are the living image of an eternal purpose. Comment the number 111 below if this message ignited something in you. Because 111 is more than a symbol, it's a portal. It's the confirmation that you are awakening. And if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, do it now. Your journey is just beginning, and this space has been prepared to walk with you to the end. Chosen one. The truth is, you were never invisible. You were simply being protected. Now, your image will reflect your essence. Because heaven has decided The time to reveal you has come. And remember, you are being seen now because the world needs your light.